All right, good evening, everyone, and welcome to the STEM Files on YouTube, OMS TV. We are no longer on Blog Talk Radio. I am your host, Chief Operating Officer of Original Man Scientific, Tariq Muhammad, also going by the name of Magna Cardiac to kind of display what type of science I love. Now I'm going to let my co-host do his thing. Jabril.
What up, what up, what up, what up, what up? Peace and blessings, everyone. It's your man, Jabril Muhammad, a.k.a. Jabrillion Engineer, because I'm pretty cocky and I like to show how smart I am. No, I just thought it actually rhymed. Jabrillion, you know, Jabril was there. Again, right. I am a materials engineer, also director of engineering for Original Man Scientific. And before we go any further, we got to highlight that social media. I want y'all to like and share this on YouTube for all those watching. Also, if you want to follow Original Man Scientific, first of all, you can go to our website, www.omansci.com. Yes, that's www.omansci.com. Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram is at @omansci_. That's at OMANSCI_. All right. And with that, we're not going to waste any time. We have a powerful, powerful show for y'all, a fun show. We have a wonderful guest who took the time to come on our show and just highlight what she's been working on, what she loves in science. And without further ado, I'm going to go into her bio and then let her take it from there. All right. So with that, as I open the bio here, we have Lorenna C. Garcia-Bochas. She's a senior biology major at Fayetteville State University in Fayetteville, North Carolina. She will be graduating with her Bachelors of Science degree in December 2018. She is currently working in Dr. Shirley Chao's Toxicology lab on a patent-pending pesticide, say that 3 times fast, currently being tested for agricultural use. She has presented at the annual Biomedical Research Conference for Minority Students, ABRCMS, 3 times, and plans on returning this November to present for the 4th time as an undergraduate. She is the reigning Miss American Royalty Cumberland County. Looking forward to hearing about that.
Yes.
Focusing on her platform on STEM education and women empowerment. She's also the founder of Babes Beauties Accomplishing Beyond Expectations in the Sciences, which is an initiative focused on STEM education, opportunities, and leadership training for young women. After graduation, she plans on completing a PhD in biological sciences with a focus on minority health and health disparities. She will be the first in her family to graduate from college and is a child of immigrants. You know, with that, we can kind of stop right there, y'all. We can just like parse that.
Right. Break that down some more.
Oh my God.
That's the show right there. You know what I'm saying? I'm about to look up some of these words. Toxic.
Oh my God.
You know what I'm saying? But without further ado, we want to have Miss Garcia-Bochas is going to herself a little bit more. You may take the floor. Thank you so much.
Oh my gosh, thank y'all for allowing me to come onto your platform. I appreciate it.
Very welcome.
Hey y'all. So I am Lorenna. I am a senior at Fayetteville State University. Go to a HBCU. I am the first in my family to go to college. My mother did go to technical school. She did get her nursing license a couple years back. So she's a nurse now, and she works actually for the DOD now. So my mother is an immigrant. She came from Panama City, Panama, and she immigrated to Canada first, and then she came to the U.S. after she married my father. Father is a migrant worker. Well, he was a migrant worker when the whole, Bush brought all the migrant workers in with green cards and all that. He was in the military for 23 years, and then he retired in 2013. So I am a military brat as well. And yes, I am the reigning Miss Cumberland County. That was fun. I guess I just did like a little interview, and they were like, you know what, you got it. So like, I'm so serious. They're like, there's nobody else who applied, so you got it.
Okay.
And with that, I was talking to like a lot of kids in different high schools about STEM, meeting with like different girls groups, talking about empowerment. So it was really fun. It was really fun. I think there's a science night coming up that I have to go to or something. I don't know. They keep going back and forth with me on that science night. They're like, oh, it might be this day, it might be that day. Because, the hurricane and the weather that happened over here.
Right.
ABRCAMS is fun because you meet a lot of different grad schools. You meet a lot of people from different colleges, and it's just fun because you can network with people. And that's what I love to do. I love to network. I love to talk to people. Love to see what people are doing. And you never know, you might meet somebody who might actually help you further your career or push you to something. Because it isn't always just about merits. It's all actually sometimes always about who you know. So good to know who you know and know who they know, because they might know somebody who might know somebody who might know somebody who might know somebody who can
Right.
help you, who can help you. So yes, that's that. And what else can I talk about? Oh my gosh. Oh yes, my nonprofit. Yes. Okay. So
There you go.
I'm not. So I don't have my like 401c yet. I don't have my nonprofit like license stuff yet because I'm still getting it off the ground. Hopefully by February of next year, I can get all that paperwork done, because my goal was to have it like official by next year, by 2019. So right now it's kind of just me by myself because I don't have a board of directors yet. I'm still trying to figure out who wants to be part of it in my area, see who wants to be a mentor, see who wants to be a mentee, and then go from there. So definitely going to have an interest meeting before the year's up. Going to meet with the mentors. I'm going to meet with the mentees, going to see what programs I can do. And so, yeah, that's just a work in progress, but I'm excited. I'm excited to see it grow.
Awesome. Awesome. Jabril, you want to go?
Yeah.
My
absolutely.
research. Wait, I forgot my research. Wait, okay.
Oh, okay,
No, we got you. No,
Wait,
I'm so sorry. My research. Okay, so let me tell you the story about how I got dragged into working with insects. So my friend, Chastity, she was originally working with Dr. Chao. She was like, Lorenna, you should come work in the bug lab. I was like, bug lab? Girl, I don't want to talk to no bugs. What do you mean? I don't want to touch no bugs. She was like, it's really fun. I was like, look, I'm not working with no cockroaches. I'm not working with no beetles. I'm not doing any of that. So she was like, no, she'll put you on a different bug, something that's nice, you know, like some butterflies or something. And I was like, I don't know. So I went there, toured the little lab, looked around, and was like, it's all right, I guess. So I started working with a small bug called an aphid, and they like to like drink nectar out of plants, and they really get into like a lot of different greenhouses in America. So they really cause havoc on a lot of stuff. So I started working with that. When I was testing my pesticide against that, it wasn't really effective. So we don't think that maybe there's an effect on those smaller bugs. So now they moved me up to an actual caterpillar, and this caterpillar is called a tobacco hornworm, and it affects tobacco plants, tomato plants, cabbage, lettuce, anything with like big leafy greens.
Okay.
And I tested my pesticide over the summer on this, and it shows that there's a good effect, that it kills about 75 to 80% of them if you put just about 3% of powder on their food. So it is very effective against them. So right now I'm just trying to see if I can repeat the process, move them onto an actual plant this time, because I was actually putting them on media instead of an actual plant, and repeat it again. But it looks really good, looks really promising. So hopefully after I leave in December, I can pass on this to somebody else so that they can present the rest of my work at the actual toxicology conference in the spring. So yeah, sorry, you can go now.
No problem. For all of us watching, I definitely want you all to like take note of the excitement that we have on the show. We try to keep it light, try to keep it fun, and fly as we go through, and really just try to get into the minds of those coming to the show. You, like you said, you mentioned a lot. One thing I want to kind of go into, we talk about STEM, science, technology, engineering, mathematics, you know, and not that we limit ourselves as those involved in STEM, but generally speaking, we try to settle on, you know, a specific aspect. But for me, I love engineering. I love the marriage of math and science to solve issues and problems in the world and different applications. What was it that actually drew you to the biological side of science, and then how did that progress over time?
Okay. High school, I was in a biotechnology class. It's like an introduction to biotech class. And my professor, Miss Barker, she was talking about her time when she was at NC State, and she's talking about the research that she used to do and what she used to work on. She used to work on HIV. And she was talking about like the things that she would have to do, precautionary measures, things that she would have to like, you know, put on and stuff. And I was like, interesting. It was very interesting just to hear her talk about her experience and just to hear like her path. And I was like, so then why did you decide to do academia? Why didn't you decide to like go further? She's like, because I really loved teaching students. I really loved actually passing on that knowledge to other people. So it was just very interesting to like hear her perspective. And then, you know, I took her advanced topics course. And with that course, we had to present like our own little research project. So I decided to do my project in physics. At the time, I thought it was a good idea. So I was like, you know what, I'll make a hoverboard. And so I actually made a hoverboard. I cut out like a big circle, like plywood. Underneath, I put like a kind of like a tarp like material, and like I stapled it down and made it stable. I could sit on it and float, but at the time I was like, what, 120? So I had to find someone who was at least 100 pounds because they would be able to float because I was a little too heavy for it. She floated and she scooted around a little bit. And I was like, yes, it worked. And in the middle, we had a leaf blower. So the leaf blower was pushing the air and it was causing it to lift. It was just really fun to like learn about the science and see how it worked. And I got an A. I was like, yes, I put in that work for that. But I think it was just that initial like spark of me like making my own experiment and learning about it and like getting involved that kind of pushed me to like, okay, well, I could probably do this in college. So I decided to major. My first major was biotechnology. But after my sophomore year, they actually closed down that department. So I had to like choose, do I want to like transfer, do I want to stay? So I actually transferred. So my junior year, I spent my junior year at North Carolina, Greensboro, which was not the best decision because that school wasn't giving me what I needed. So I decided to come back to Fayetteville State and just major in biology. And I decided to focus mainly on like biological sciences and just focus on that field. And I guess what kind of really drew me over there was mainly because when I was in Greensboro, I did work with refugees, and I just saw how the environmental impacts of war affected generations. And I was just really interested in seeing like how like little changes in the environment could really affect somebody, because it was just a lot of things I was seeing, like the food that they were eating, the stress from work, the stress from moving from one country to the other, the language barrier, no health care, like just seeing like the different factors that were affecting them was causing their health to decline. And it was just, and all that really was just triggered by the stress from the war. If the war didn't happen, they'd probably still be in Vietnam. They'd probably still be living over there and probably wouldn't have as much health issues as they do now. So it was just seeing like how like it affected that community really like pushed me to want to learn more and really want to focus on minority health. So yeah.
Okay. You mentioned a key word. You talked about generations.
Mm-hmm.
You also talked about, you know, being of a, you know, immigrant family and being first generation to graduate from college. What I wanted to highlight or ask about, is there such a thing as a, let's say, immigrant mentality? You know, people always talk about or associate.
Oh.
No, I'm saying people associate people that, you know, come to the States or whatever is like, you know, hard workers, a high value of education. Can you attest to those things, and how did they, you know, affect you positively and be like a core proponent of you moving forward in your academic career and just in life in general?
I think it definitely inspired me to push harder.
Okay.
Because I mean, yeah, my mother kind of grew up in like, I guess, middle class environment. Because my grandmother, she did have like an education. She has her master's degree in accounting. Okay. And my mother's side of the family is very, very smart, like very smart. My great uncle is like an architect. And then my great grandfather actually helped build the canal in Panama. Okay. So yeah, my family, like that side of the family is super, super smart. And I think I get my smarts from my mother, like for real, but I get like my hard work and dedication from my father. I think that's where that comes from. But just seeing like how my parents work paycheck to paycheck, like my whole life, not being able to like get gifts for Christmas sometimes, not being able to like get new clothes for school, having to borrow stuff from people, having to like go to thrift stores all the time just to get things that I needed. Like, I don't want to keep doing that for the rest of my life. Like, I want to push forward. Like, I know what I want to do, where I want to be, and that's not where I was at years ago. Like, I want to do better. I want to make my family proud. So that's kind of like a driving factor for me. And, you know, I just see myself doing a lot, like a lot. Like I see my name on buildings. Like I'm not gonna quit. Like you got what I'm saying? Like, and I don't see a lot of women or like a lot of men like in the African American community that actually want to like do those things. Like they want to settle a lot of times. I'd be like, no, don't settle. Just keep going. Do what you got to do, and you can be the next Bill Gates or something like that. Like I don't know. I just want to help inspire people to like push further, because a lot of women that I meet, they're like, oh, I might just do this and that and this and that. I'm like, do you really want to do that? Or is that what people tell you you want to do? Like, is that really what you want to do? Or is that what people in society tell you you should do? Because like, I wish I could like teach a whole class on like, like pushing further and, you know, achieving what you want to achieve. Because I've had a lot of downfalls. I've had a lot of issues. I had a lot of things happen to me. But at the end of the day, like you decide how it's going to affect you. So I kind of use that as fuel to like make me push further. So yeah, I know that's a lot. I'm sorry. That's
no, you good.
That's a lot.
People need to hear that, because a lot of
Yeah.
times when it comes to success, right? And you know, none of us are where we want to be, probably in multiple regards, right? But a lot of times people see the end and don't see the in between, or even the beginning. Don't see the hard work, don't see the push-ups, don't see the hard nights, don't see the darker times, or don't understand where that person comes from. And I'm actually about to turn it over to Tariq. And it's funny because as you were talking, I thought about Tariq, because knowing where he's come from, having people tell him like, you know, how they want him to do his research, or how his research should be skewed, or in what way it should go, or like we want you to look at this aspect of things, and just like he's, from what I've seen, he's always been one to be able to figure it out. You know, he may not have all the resources with him at the beginning, but lo and behold, like give him some time, he's figuring it out. He has figured it out. So with that, I definitely want to turn it over to Tariq and take us further.
Man, I'm flattered right now. I appreciate the highlight, big brother. But yeah, I want to talk about what you mentioned a few moments ago about a lot of people settling for what they have or for what's put in front of them. What do you think creates that attitude in our community? And what do you think is the reason for why a lot of us don't want to be owners or be in some type of management or executive type role in our communities? What do you think is contributing to that?
I feel like it's a mixture of the way that, I guess, the environment that they grow up in. I guess maybe they're so used to seeing people just settle for what they get. Or it's like you get like one step higher and you're like, oh, if I try this, I don't want to fall back from that one step and go all the way to the bottom. I'm already here. Why should I try to go for that if like I'm already here? What if I fall back from that one step? I guess people are afraid of that risk of losing it all, because, you know, as a business owner, you putting your own money into it, especially if you're a small business. Even if you're a nonprofit like me, you're putting your own money into it, trying to do all this stuff. And what if it doesn't turn out good? But what if it does turn out good? Then you can reap from those benefits. So I think it's a mixture of just environment, people telling them, oh, no, you shouldn't do that. It's just a waste of time. Oh, you shouldn't do this. I think it's a mixture of people, peer pressure, environment, and then like their own self-motivation. Because if you don't have that self-motivation to drive you, that's also like a big thing too. So self-motivation, environment, and then peer pressure. Those three things.
Yeah, when you mention the risk, I'm telling you, that's what gets me going. I love when there's a high risk factor involved. I was scrolling down Instagram, and I don't know if you follow him. His name is Ben X, and he's always talking about stealing away or getting away from your job to do your own thing. What are your thoughts on that? Do you see yourself as somebody that is an entrepreneur in spirit? Do you see yourself owning? I know you say you see your name on buildings, but do you see yourself legitimately owning everything that you produce?
Eventually, I can see myself, because I have thought about, you know, having like a different nonprofit that was more focused on actually developing like treatments and cures for like different diseases that affect minority communities. Like maybe I manufacture like a certain type of drug that can only be by me, and make sure that the prices are like cheaper
Nice.
compared to others. Like that's what I was thinking at first. But then I was like, how am I gonna get that done? How am I gonna know who to talk to about that? And it was just a lot of different ideas that I had. But I was like, how am I gonna get it done? So that is kind of something I have been thinking about, because I was like looking at how like a lot of people can't get access to those kind of drugs. But if I like could possibly lower the cost or make it myself and get it to them, that would be something of benefit to them. So that was something I have been thinking about, but it's not really like formed 100% yet. I still gotta think about it.
You know, that's what we're here for. You know, I'm sure that that's what's going on in Jabril's mind right now. Like that that is
I can see him.
right. That is what our mission is. When you have something like that, especially as it relates to science, and you wanna have your ownership in it, and you want to be able to distribute it yourself, that's where we come in. You know, because we.
Well, then come on, let's work together.
Let's go.
It's already done.
It's already done.
Less.
That's right. So definitely, we'll definitely get together a few times after the show, of course. But I want to ask you about your nonprofit. Okay. Now, when I read it, it says Babes. So now I wasn't being sexist in it. Hold on, wait. I wasn't being sexist in any way, but I automatically assumed that it was about women.
It is about women, though.
Right, exactly. You know, so I actually admire the name. I think it's very attractive, especially to I think it's attractive to men, really, because men actually get to see these powerful young women doing their thing. You know, so when you got a name like Babes out, and you got men that, you know, of course, like women, you know, they're gonna see a plethora of women that you're working with in science, in engineering, and mathematics. So tell us more about that. Tell us more about your journey through your nonprofit.
Okay,
so even though you don't got 501c3, I'm gonna still say it's a nonprofit.
Okay. So on August 25th, I was at what could I call it? It was like a mixture between a vending event / empowerment event for women on campus. And I was helping my friend because she actually has her own little business. She sells like little handmade rugs and stuff with different designs on them. So I was just there helping her, you know, sell her things. And I don't know, lady was like, you know, you should really start something if you really want to today. Really do something that you really feel passionate about. And I had wanted to do a nonprofit, but I hadn't really thought like, what exactly do I want to do it about? I know I want to do it STEM related, but what exactly would I focus it on? So like a mixture of different ideas, and it kind of came to me like, what niche can I like focus on? So I was like, I can focus on women in STEM, because there's nothing in Fayetteville for women in STEM. There's just a lot of mentorship organizations for just women empowerment in general, but none dealing with leadership, none dealing with like STEM education, nothing dealing with helping people get into grad school, nothing of that sort. So I was like, okay, well then maybe I could focus it on that. And Babes kind of just came because I was like, a lot of people don't think women in STEM are attractive. So I kind of put Babes out there, like, because, you know, when they think of the stereotypical scientist, she's usually a white lady, kind of old, don't look attractive. She doesn't look good. Like, I'm being honest, though. That's just real. True. And so I thought Babes, because it would make you want attracted to it, and I would make sure I highlighted women in STEM that were empowering. So the whole beauties accomplishing beyond expectations in science, I was just thinking, okay, what can I do to make it sound good? I was coming up with different names. I was like, you know what? I'm gonna stick with this because they need to be shown as beautiful women, strong women. Because I mean, come on, like we need a better representation of women in general. Because and that's why I always put like a dark-skinned African American woman as like in my pictures that I post on the page, because I don't see a lot of dark-skinned African American women on there. So that's why I post pictures like that, like for my little flyers that I put out, because I don't see that representation in the sciences, especially in like pamphlets and stuff for like different schools. I never really see dark-skinned women in the pamphlets, never. So I'm just like, we need more representation. So
you know, it's funny you said that before the show started. You were talking about Clark Atlanta, about going in for your master's, right?
Yeah.
when you go to the Clark Atlanta website, what do you see?
I see. Well, haven't been in a while.
Well,
But
let
haven't
me.
been in a while.
What I see on the website when I went to it maybe about 4 days ago, and it's only, and you click on the research and the sciences pages,
Mm-hmm.
it's only people of Indian descent.
Oh yeah.
There's not a single. Now this is a HBCU, correct?
Yeah.
There's not a single Black person in any of the science areas on that website. Now, Indians are they're ethnic.
Yeah.
But you
Respect to
understand
the
what I'm saying,
Indian.
right?
Yeah.
Absolutely, no doubt. You know, but to see Black and Latino people in those areas represented on the promotional material, that alone plays a role in how many Black and Latino people will be involved in STEM, because they don't see themselves.
Right.
You know, I just want to commend you for the work you're doing with Babes. If you have anybody in your network that you think would love to be on the show, by all means, send them my way.
I can think of a few.
That's what's up. That's what's up. Like I said, I hope, before we go any further, I just want to highlight, I hope everyone who's watching is really trying to dig in and like see what's happening here. We really are pulling out of young, Black, underrepresented groups, people who you may not see as, being attracted to the sciences or being successful in the sciences. We're showing you what is being done at a high level. We're also showing you people at their beginnings and showing you what they are before they attain to the greatness that they will get to later. So I definitely want you to like, comment, and share on our YouTube channel. Share to your friends, family, share to your dog, your fish, you know what I'm saying? Share to everybody. One thing I do want to get into, as you were talking about Babes and you were talking about really how women see themselves, women in STEM, or how people see women in STEM, I really want to highlight or talk about, there's science as an action, but there's also science as a mentality. There's science as a way in which you attack issues, problems, a way in which you look at your surroundings and look at life. And one thing I think people don't understand all the time is, like, for example, you mentioned before the show even started how, outside of the sciences, I write, poetry, I do music. But when you really think about that, there's a lot of science in the writing of poetry, and there's a lot of science in music. There's a strong correlation between those who play the violin at a high level and then those who who have a high level of technical prowess, or like being good at mathematics, things like that, right? How can you speak to how not only science is an action, but science as a mentality has played in your success? Like, how have you thought scientifically as you progress through your life?
I've always planned it through. I've always planned. I mean, I can be spontaneous sometimes, but me personally, I prefer to plan out. I prefer to plan out my what I'm doing. I don't like to do things half. I don't like to do any of that. I like to make sure that I'm prepared before I do something. Right. But at the same time, you do have to be ready because life happens. So when you talk about music, I played the saxophone, and I played since I was in 5th grade. And I played jazz, and in jazz, you have to improvise, and you have to come up with things out the top of your head. So when you're doing research, you do have to think about and problem solve as things are going on. So I do feel like my musical abilities did kind of correlate to how I think and what I do now. So it kind of just merged hand in hand to what I was doing. And I did kind of see I do see the correlation because a lot of people that were in biology also dealt with music. And a lot of my friends that were in music were also, interested in science, interested in chemistry, interested in math, interested in physics. So I did have a lot of friends who were in both groups. So I do see the correlation. But I guess, what was the?
No, you answered the question.
I answered the question. Okay, I thought I didn't get it.
How have you thought scientifically throughout your life? How has that helped you?
Planning is definitely, I plan everything out.
Especially when you tied in when you talked about coming off the top with stuff in jazz and relating that to how in research you have to come off the top too. That was perfect. Definitely, and I definitely can attest to that. So I dance, and
Oh,
one
okay.
thing that I've always seen
Okay.
correlation between like movement or like rhythm. Like one thing is like I'm very like when I listen, I don't listen to music like a lot of people listen to music. Like some people just enjoy, but like when I listen to music, I listen to like the beat on top, the melody, the underbeat, like. And I like, you know, sometimes like isolate is where like just like I'm just hearing something repeated in there.
Yeah.
And when you do things like that, like how are you able to then look at, let's say, a math problem and then isolate that? And if it's a word problem, okay, see what my terms are when it says, okay, add this up, that's additional. If it says the sum of, if it says to take away, or how are you then translating after you isolate the question from wording into mathematical terms. So, and then all of the science that's in the body, in movement. Like if I'm in ballet or whatever, if I'm doing a grand plie, if I'm doing pas de deux, if I'm, different things, like how the body is able to move those type of signals from the brain to the muscles to be able to do those type of things. So it's all connected. When you begin to think in that way, you begin to understand why it is someone is supremely good at, what is they do musically or dance wise. So definitely. You said something else. Going back to, you were talking about the nonprofit, and I'm not saying this as a knock or I'm saying this against nonprofits, but I hear a lot of our people. We talk a lot about, I want to do a nonprofit, do a nonprofit. Do you ever think that there's amongst Black people or underrepresented groups, a feeling of like for-profit is bad? Because I rarely, like, sometimes you hear people going into business, but you hear a lot of like, oh, I want to do a nonprofit. But I feel like it seems to me sometimes it's like, oh, to get money for doing something of service isn't necessarily like a good thing. Do you ever feel that way? Do you have had people articulate that to you?
I don't necessarily think for profit is bad. I mean, well,
I'm not saying you. Like, have you ever heard that, or like have people like?
But I have heard that before. I have heard that. It, like, a lot of people were like, "Oh, if you want to serve the community, why are you doing for profit? It should be nonprofit because all the money should go to the people you're serving."
Right.
And I also get, the other side. Well, I need some money from what I'm making, like,
Right.
So I can see both sides of the coin. So it kind of depends on what the focus of that is. And it kind of depends on the focus of like what your mission statement is and what you're trying to do for that community. Because I can see where a for-profit would be maybe a training organization for men or women, and you would need some type of compensation.
Right.
Or it could be something that deals with disaster relief, and where it would be a nonprofit. But it could also be a for-profit too, because you got to have workers and people go out there and help clean up. So it could work different sides of the coin. So I feel like it would depend on the person, the mission statement, and like what their vision is for that. Like, do they really want to make money off of people? Well, I don't want to sound bad, but like, they want to make money off people, or do they really want to just give all that and help people?
Right.
Yeah.
To your point, that's a wonderful point. And correct me if I'm wrong. When I think about it, sometimes I see like, so if you have a nonprofit organization, and I like I said, I'm not supremely well versed in nonprofits, all the ins and outs. But one thing I feel like I understand is when you get funding, there's an understanding or some kind of contractual agreement between who's getting the funding, who's presenting the funding, that the funding is to be used for X, Y, and Z.
Yes,
and
that's
if
correct.
you ever fall outside of that contract or you're doing something different, there has to be some other hoops or that has to be articulated so that the funding continues. Now, when you deal with for-profit, like, for example, let's say, all right, now the funding or the money that's generated, the revenue that's generated, but you have the mind to do something for yourself and like-minded people or your people, right? So now, with what you're generating from the business side of what you're doing, now the sky's the limit for what you want to do because it's money that you've generated. So like, yeah, you can choose like, okay, I'm gonna copy this for myself. And that also goes to, I wanted to highlight the concept, going back to the question you asked about why do people settle? I think a lot of our people suffer from, we start from ground zero. So we're so focused on what we as individuals don't have, versus maybe other communities that like start off with a little something, so that the mindset isn't so much I need to make sure I'm straight. Is okay, I'm a little bit freed in the sense that I can think about others, and I can be of a mind to give of myself to others, versus like, yo, I'm trying to get out how I'm living, I'm trying to get out the hood, I'm trying to do X, Y, and Z, make sure I'm straight. So now that's why. So the settling thing is, okay, you might be willing to take more risks if you're set and you're now trying to like expand and see what you can do for your fellow man. But see, when it's about keeping it close to the chest, when it's about, hey, well, I've never had this much. I came up, I did all this for myself. I would hate to lose it. I feel like that plays a part in it too. But yeah, I feel like sometimes you get greater, you're allowed greater latitudes and everything when you're a for-profit, because you're not so much, kind of depending on like, this funding coming in. It's like, you're like, okay, I have a product, I have a service, I'm, being of service to the community, and then like, I'm being paid for the service, being paid for the product, and I can reinvest in my community in whatever way, shape, or form I feel. So that's just like a thought process that I've been playing around with and thinking about. In regard to the, if you want to say for-profit versus non-profit, but not that there should be a versus thing, but just some thoughts I had.
Wow, so this has been a awesome show so far, and just like a little side note, a little history trivia about Original Man Scientific. OMS was actually supposed to be the for-profit to a non-profit, to an existing non-profit.
That's true.
It was never so. Originally, it was supposed to stand together with a nonprofit and not on its own. But eventually, after a series of events, OMS decided to part ways with that nonprofit and become its own standalone entity. So trust and believe that nonprofit versus for-profit is very real. And when you have two people that are, one is nonprofit, one is for-profit, their ideas may collide, because the different types of activities that they are trying to pursue will yield different results. So and the beauty of OMS is that if we help you, we're helping ourselves.
All right.
OMS is an idea-based company. Once we help you, the entire company, along with what you're doing, flourishes. So it's a great opportunity to be a young Black scientist who wants to own their stuff. So once again, once again, thank you, Lorenna, for joining us this evening on the most boring day of the week, which is a Tuesday. Everybody has mentors. Everybody has mentors. Everybody has, or somebody that they looked up to or look up to that has influenced them in some way. Who are those people for you?
Oh, my mother, most definitely. My mom is definitely the first person I think of. She is a very strong woman. She left her home country when she was 20. She went to Canada for 7 years. She learned how to speak French in Montreal.
Mm-hmm.
She came to America. She knew a little bit of English, but not a lot. And she learned how to speak English. So, I mean, she definitely found a way to, I guess, make money and do what she needed to do. She at first wanted to do, what was it? She wanted to do some type of software stuff. I forgot exactly. But she wanted to do like computer science. But she realized that really wasn't for her. So then she started like doing a little babysitting here and there. And she had her own little home for like kids. And she was babysitting in the neighborhood that we lived at. Eventually, she learned that she wanted to go to pharmacy school. So she decided to do pharmacy tech. And she became a pharmacy tech when we lived in Columbus, Georgia. And then she was like, you know what? I think I'm going to go straight and do nursing. And she tried for so long to do nursing, but family issues, back and forth, things didn't work. So finally, 2013, she got her license. But that same year, my father decided he didn't want to be part of our family anymore. So he decided he wanted to divorce my mom. So we had a lot of stuff going on around that time. So it was just me going to court with her, getting custody of my brother. It was a lot of stuff with that. So that's like all the other stuff behind the scenes that happens when you're in college. And this was my first year of college too. So my freshman year was very hectic. I don't even know how I passed all my classes, but I did it. So it was a lot of stuff with that, dealing with fake friends, dealing with
Oh
people
Lord,
who
have mercy.
care about you. It's just a lot of stuff. Just dealing with people.
Song coming on.
Oh. And, you know, dealing with boyfriends who end up not really caring about you, you know, like things like that. So a lot of stuff happened behind the scenes for me to be who I am today.
Right.
So now, you know, I'm 23 now. Back then I was early teen, well, like late teens, 18, 19, 20. So yeah, I learned a lot of lessons back then. So now I'm more secure with who I am. And I know where I want to be. And I know I can't go back to any of that. Oh gosh. Oh gosh, that was crazy. But yeah, yeah. I forgot what the question was.
Oh no, I was just you pretty much answered it, but the question
Yeah.
was just, you know, who are the people in your life that have, you know, paid that have served as a mentor
Yeah,
or
my mother was definitely, and then of course my mentors in college. My last summer internship, of course, Dr. Chao, because I worked with her over the summer, but Gurpreet, he was really cool. He was so cool. Like this man was cool. He was from originally he's from what was it? Not Quebec. He's from Toronto. He's from Toronto, Canada. He graduated with like a 2.0. His
wow.
GPA was horrible. Um, and he was like, I want to go to grad school. So he got an interview, and the guy was like, the only reason I gave you an interview is because your technical skills were better than the guy who had a 4.0. So if I get you in this master's program,
Real. That's real.
you need to show me that you're gonna be here for the long haul and you're gonna get your grades up. So he did it, and the guy was like, "Look, if you can do all this media, you can change this up. That you can go ahead and transfer to a PhD." So he did, and he got his PhD in biochemistry.
Wow.
And now he works at Duke University. He does, I think, bone regeneration. He's looking into like all that stuff. So I was working with stem cells over the summer, learning about how they grow, what happens when there's like a stress factor. Like in our case, we're looking at gastric bypass surgery and how it affected bone, and it has a very bad effect on bone. It was really bad, but it was very interesting to see like the correlation between surgery and how it affects your cells. So it was very cool. But like I told him, like, I just had so much stuff happen in my life. My grades aren't like 100%. Like I feel like I might not make it. He was like, I came from rock bottom. If I can do it, you can do it. And I was
Right.
like, all right, thank you, Capri. And he was much younger. He was like 39. Now he's 40, but he was
Wow.
much younger than a lot of like other PIs in the room. So he was very relatable. So he understood like where I was coming from. So I was like, all right, all right. But he was just really cool. That's why I like him.
That's what's up.
Yeah,
That's a crazy story.
it is.
But and that's something that people need to hear. You also mentioned going back, you talked about when people do things and you ask if they really want to do it and they know why they're doing it. I tell people all the time, and I stand by this, college isn't for everyone. When I say that, I don't mean that you don't have the intellectual capacity to perform in college.
Mm-hmm.
What I mean is success and college are not necessarily it's not just a high correlation between success and college or direct correlation. You have a lot of people, and not to say this is a road to take, that go to college and drop out and go on to be multimillionaires. And I went to a university that has a few that we know of today.
Yep.
That are I guess they're not alumni, but went to the school for
yeah, they're a friend.
So that being said, I'm very much pro trade with people who love to work with their hands or want to do something that basically allows for them. You can't take it away from them. One thing is, like I always was taught, you can't pass a job down. Your son or daughter or a significant other or loved one can only get in line behind you. And you can just give a good word. But when you own something, when you have a skill, when you have a business, when you give a service, you can teach that to your offspring or whatever and create a legacy with that thing and it never being lost. And I think that's something that our people, that a lot of times people don't understand, is like yes, getting a job and like, you know, having a nice job, you be comfortable, whatever. But what happens when, you know, if you get laid off, whatever? Now it's like, okay, the checks aren't coming in anymore. But when you have something that you not only can have, no one can take, but that you can teach, you always have a way to make money for yourself, provide for yourself and your family, right? So that's why when we have to understand and be very methodical about when we go through life and what we want to do. You know, what we like to do, but also what's going to allow us to be successful and productive and happy in society. You know, whether it's just making money or just being able to secure a future for ourselves, you know? And I think that's something that, you know, not a lot of people know. It's not articulated in a family household, or just, you know, not thought about. Like, I'm just trying to get paid. Okay, cool. You can get paid residually though, you know, forever. And that's cool too. So you have to lead with purpose. You know, another saying, I don't know how familiar you are with the Honorable Minister of Farrakhan, but both Tariq and I are in the Nation of Islam. I know you heard about Malcolm X. Right? So one of the sayings talks about a man or woman who finds their purpose. And that's one of the greatest, I'm paraphrasing, highlights, or something that brings joy to the human being. When you really find what it is that you can put on this earth for, or what really excites you to get up every day, and also when you're producing something. You know, when you can go from an idea to it coming into reality, that makes you so happy, so excited to continue on. That's really what life is about. And I think going back to Babes, as it's a babe right now, and if it's thrill, you know, it's you're in the early stages. You know, we're still in kind of earlier stages of OMS, and as we're, you know, I guess you want to say even pregnant with these ideas or these companies, as they come forth and we develop it more and more, what will they be in the end? Will we be able to stick with it through the labor pains? Will we be able to get through the point where it's born, and then now after it's born, be able to develop it into adolescence, and then go from that into you know, adulthood? And then, you know, will we be like making a nice little piece of change on top of that? Who knows? But all that's the goal, to see that process go from there to there. And like I said, we definitely wish you much success with Babes. We're here as a resource, not only for ourselves, actually, like me and Brother Tariq and our other colleagues or whatever, but for the people that we know in biological sciences, people in entrepreneurship, whatever you need. Like I said, like, we want to exchange information and make sure that we can help each other. We always try to like stay in touch with those we have on the show and build that network. So thank you again for coming on. I definitely enjoyed myself. I probably talked a little bit too much. That's like, I told you I carried it. I told you that.
Oh man, man. I told you I was gonna let him be LeBron for today, and but Thursday, man, I'm taking back.
Okay,
I'm coming for you.
Okay.
You know, but nah, that's my brother. Where do you see yourself at age 30? Those of us in our 20s, we don't really like hearing about getting close to that. Yeah. You know,
I would say like done with my PhD, have like Babes like up and running, possibly have like a for-profit on the side, have my own building, have my own like research team. And I want to be traveling the world. I told myself I want to make my own job because I love to travel. Like, I want to travel from place to place. I want to have my nonprofit or for-profit foundation in different countries, helping people in the area, doing things like that. Because originally I was thinking about doing like a whole like training program for like people from different areas so that they can be trained and they can learn about, I guess, whatever craft they need in their area. Well, I see the need and I go there and I train them and I get them, I guess, more involved in their community. If they need help with building a well, okay, we're going to train them to build a well. So when this happens next time, they don't need to call somebody else. They can do it themselves. Right. So that was like something that I had originally thought of as a thing to like do in each country. Like, I see the need, I figure out who can help train them. And then if they need anything, they just contact us back and forth. So that was like the original plan. But I was like, that's a little too much right now. So maybe later on in life. But I don't know. I just have a lot of ideas about things, and I guess I need to like really write them down and really like develop them and really find people who can help me push them forward.
There we go. There we
Because
go.
I need a team, like for real. I need a team who's gonna help me
You
push
need a
them forward.
squad.
That's what we're here for.
I need a squad who's gonna help me like push, like, because I'm the kind of person who's like, I want my friends to be on top with me. I don't like to like see my friends below me.
Right.
But I want to like see people around me like develop and grow. Because I know there's a lot of people who have that mindset where it's like, well, if she's getting it, then I need to get it too, or she doesn't need to get it at all. Like, or why is he doing better than I am? Like, I need to get some of that. Calm down. There's room on the top for everybody, but people don't want to like see it that way. So
yeah, they see everything as a competition. You see somebody that wants to do what you're doing, work with them. Don't.
Yeah.
What's the point of being competition?
Or at least learn from them.
Yeah.
Do something.
Like I'm currently like a chairwoman for another nonprofit, and I was learning about how she did her 401c and did all the stuff so that I know what I need to do for when I start mine. And I was just learning from her, you know, being her treasurer, being her chairwoman, being there to help her design events and stuff, helping her budget, because this girl like to spend money. Helping her budget, like, girl, we don't need that. We can use the library. The space is free. Oh no, we don't need that. We can go to the dollar store and buy that. No, ma'am, we do not need that. We can find a better option, cheaper option somewhere else. So like helping her find like the best things at affordable prices, because she loves to go to Target and spend. And I keep telling her there's cheaper prices somewhere else. Like, let's look somewhere else. So, but yeah.
Dope.
Well, like I said a few minutes ago, this has been an amazing show. I've enjoyed myself.
Because I'm here. That's why.
Yes, exactly.
Oh, absolutely.
Absolutely. That's exactly why. You know, 2 months gone, it makes you appreciate the people you invite on the show, the platform you have, and just the drive that everybody on this in front of the camera right now has. You know, we're all.
When people ask you where you've been and they miss you.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh.
Right. You know, so this has definitely been a great show. I enjoyed myself. One more question before we conclude. Say you're walking down the street, right? You have siblings, right?
Yeah, I have a brother.
You have a brother. How old is your brother?
17.
17. Okay, say you're walking down the street with your brother and y'all just randomly talking. And he asks you, Lorenna, what does science mean to you in general, and why is it important to you as a human being?
Well, there's so much I can say, man. Okay. Well, science to me is, in a nutshell, like just the way the world works, the way that life works, the way that things happen in this whole world, because we're all connected whether we know it or not. From the water we drink, from the things that we eat, from the air that we breathe, we're all connected. Diseases travel very fast from country to country because of birds, because of insects, because of the air, the weather. Like, people are not isolated in this world anymore. What happens in China can pass to India, can pass to Europe, can pass to the United States. We're in a very interconnected world. So science is everywhere to me. Like, all the technology that we use is because of scientists, because of engineers, because of people who developed this, like everything. And I guess why science is important to me. Well, it's important because if you don't understand like the basic mechanics of life, then how can you understand how to like further your own life?
Yeah.
Like, I know that's kind of a loaded statement, but it's like, if you don't understand how the world works, then how do you know where you fit into that world? Which is very deep. I know that's very deep.
No, I like that. I like that.
But hear me out. Like, okay, somebody realized that they wanted to be a poet or a musician or whatever because of something that happened to them in their environment. So environment, touched on that person, something that happened. They were like, oh, this spark of light happened. I'm going to do this for the rest of my life. So yeah.
Bro, she got me wanting to bear witness, bro.
Bro,
you might want to have that as like a caption or something.
Yes,
But hold on, before Tariq, real quick, because she thought she was gonna get away though.
Yeah.
What?
She said if somebody know they a poet or musician.
Oh,
right. Hey, go ahead, put her on the spot, bro. Put her on
the spot. For all those watching, if you remember, Lorenna so eloquently talked about how she was a poet.
Yes.
So we gonna ask if she could share a little something with us, either off the dome or something previously written. It doesn't matter. You know what I'm saying?
Freestyle preferably. Freestyle preferably.
Oh my poems are not very nice though. They're kind of dark.
Well, own worst critic. Go
kind
for
of what?
They're kind of dark.
Dark.
Hey, listen, we here.
But I mean, they came from a place where I was certain.
So you know.
Okay. Pain is the mother of creativity.
Oh my gosh. Okay. I have so many poems. It's like I don't know which one to choose. Put me on the spot. Like, oh my gosh. Okay. Let me see. I'm trying to find this one poem that's actually pretty good.
Take your time. Take your time.
So remember when I told y'all I had been through like some difficult relationships? Well, this one's about a relationship that I had that did not work out because I found out that he like cheated on me.
Okay.
So this is me speaking in his perspective. This is not my perspective. I decided to do his perspective because I wanted to get myself in the mindset of what he might have been thinking of at the time. So this one is called Cheater. Okay. Okay.
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
All right. It is a little bit sexual. Okay, just a little bit. I don't know if that's okay.
You're good. You're good. It's all good.
Okay.
Go ahead.
I don't know if this is a PG show or not. Like, okay. All right. Your curls bounced in the wind as we drove to your favorite place, an abandoned road where at night you could see the stars dance and no city lights could reach. I felt your very words in my soul, but I couldn't be with you. I was in a 3-year relationship, and this to me felt like cheating, getting time alone with you. But I had told you a lie, that we broke up and that I was single again. You believed me, and we made love in your backseat until the car windows fogged up and we were exhausted. You took me home, and I kissed you goodbye, but inside I felt horrible, my stomach and knots thinking to myself, why'd I lie? I just want to have my cake and eat it too. But I can't keep leading her on. I'm falling in love with her, but I'm supposed to only love one, my main, but she pays me no mind and cheated on me. Unloyal to me, my heart hurts. So which do I choose, an old flame or a new boo?
Wow.
Nice. I like that.
Wow.
That's from his perspective, because I didn't know he was, I did not know he was still with her. He told me he had broke up with her and he never did.
Oh, wow.
No, it's great. That's rare. I mean, I don't know if it's rare, but like I've never heard somebody. I can't remember when I've heard somebody talk or do a poem from someone else's perspective.
Yeah.
Cool. I think that's pretty cool. That was hot.
That's very interesting.
Okay.
Absolutely.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Well, this.
Like, y'all want to hear another
this
one?
This is a dope show.
I mean, yeah.
Y'all want to hear another one? Y'all see, like, y'all want to hear that?
She feeling herself now, Jabril, so we gotta give her some more. Go ahead, go for it.
Oh my gosh. Okay.
You got one more. Go ahead, one more.
Okay, this one is called Friend with quotations.
Okay.
This is about a guy that I had dated, and we are no longer friends anymore because of reasons. And you'll find out in the poem. Okay. As the world drifted asleep, I escaped to where you are, quietly talking. Our conversations flowed like air through the night sky. I became amazed at how well we fit together. You were startled when our lives seemed so much the same. I told you my deepest secrets. You asked me about my past lives. I never judged your insecurities. You never understood my lack of risk-taking. I trusted you, but you lied to me. You became judgmental of the life I lived. I became insecure due to the words you said. You told me I shouldn't be doing this and that, but a hypocrite. You were doing the same things, only just not on my level of expertise. I saw how people changed you into something else. You saw how I molded myself through the pain of life struggles. I never asked you about how I looked anymore because you were painfully truthful. I needed to work out or eat better, when all I was looking for was a "yes, you look good" reply. I want to see myself with you, but your qualities were not what I wanted. It was your personality, which was as confusing to you as it was to me. I knew our relationship wouldn't last because I matured with each season, but you immatured with each day. I distanced myself from the distractions, but you pushed them closer to your grasp. I believed you would change, and you believed I would too. So now we're no longer friends because of the way that we grew.
Straight fire.
That goes crazy. The mature, immature part had me. That got me.
Yeah, that was the best part. I like that.
Wait. I'm mature with each season.
You immature with each day.
Oh,
that is dope as hell.
I was right now. I had to snap.
This is a true story. Like, this guy, like, he changed. Like, he became something else. I think it was because he was younger than me. That's why. But he just, anyway.
Wow, that's a beautiful way to close out the show.
That was dope.
Beautiful.
Don't be that friend.
No, not trying to be that friend. Actually, just real a shameless plug, real quick. I know my wife will smirk at this. So both of us are actually younger than our wives.
Oh,
I didn't know that.
Going out there.
Really?
Hold on, wait, hold on.
How old are your wives?
Well, my wife is 26, and I'm 23.
Okay.
Yeah, I didn't know.
I'm 24. My wife is 26.
Oh,
we over here winning a little bit. You know what I'm saying?
Okay. Maybe it was just him. It was just him.
You know what I'm saying? We over here winning. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes we over here winning.
Yeah,
you know
they make it bad. They make us look bad.
You're over here flagging me now.
Yeah.
Okay. Love you too. No, but thank you so much. That was the first time we've had live poetry, and it was amazing. Before we end the show, what we like to do is, if the a guest wants to be followed, people to find their content, find more about them, we like to ask, is there any social media you want us to highlight, any works, websites, Y and Z, and with that you can talk about that now.
Okay, well, I mean, you can follow me on Instagram. It's Lorenna.Cristal. You can follow me on Twitter. It's just Lorenna_Cristal. And then you guys can listen to some of my poetry on YouTube. But I don't have like an actual like YouTube link. But it is in my bio on Instagram, and it's on Twitter too. And if you want to follow Babes, it's just B.A. B.E.S.
Okay.
Scientist. So I mean, that's all.
And that's Cristal with an I, not a Y, right?
Yes, Cristal with the I, not a Y.
Cool.
Awesome. Well, this has been another edition of the S.T.E.M Files on OMS TV. I'm not going to do this part because Jabril does it better than I do. So,
talk about it.
Brother, can you please close this out?
You know I gotta do it. Yes,
oh my gosh.
Another cracking open on the S.T.E.M Files. We are your hosts, Magna Cardiac and Jabril Engineer, joined by our very, very, very wonderful guest, Lorenna Cristal. She is you've been wonderful. Just like the energy that you brought definitely matched ours. It's been awesome to see your passion for the sciences, passion for babes, passion for really just figuring out what it is you want to do in life. So definitely love having you on the show. Again, everyone, for anything OMS, you want to follow us on our social media. That's Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at OMANSEI_. Also on those same platforms, OMS TV. Here on YouTube, that's at OMS_TV. Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. Like I said, we do that. We're striving to do this week in and week out. Like I said, we want a brief hiatus or a longer hiatus because we have some things to take care of. That's how business goes. You know what I'm saying? It's ups and downs. Entrepreneurship is the same thing. We're gonna be back at it again. Tariq, do we have any insights on our next guest, or are we gonna bring that to them at a later time?
Yes, our next guest is, for right now, we have not secured a Thursday guest, but we do have a Saturday guest.
Okay.
7 o'clock Eastern time. He's been on our Blog Talk platform last year. His name is Jabril Muhammad out of.
Uh-oh.
Yes.
Is it not you?
Oh, it's Dr. Jabril.
Yeah, Doc. Yeah, he works for the National Institutes of Health doing cancer research. So we definitely look forward to having him on this platform. And our future guest for the following Saturday is Mr. Anthony Coleman. Anthony Coleman is a physicist out of Chicago. Now he's what I like to call a hood physicist because he literally came from the hood,
yeah,
Chicago, South Side Chicago, and now is a particle physicist, I think.
Yeah, he does a lot of stuff.
Bro. Yeah, a lot of stuff. And we look forward to having him on the following Saturday. This has been, like Jabril said, this has been another edition of the STEM Files. And thank you again, Lorenna, for being a guest on our show. Is there anything you'd like to leave us with? Any closing remarks?
No, just thank you guys, and ask him if he knows if he knew Kanye.
Kanye? Oh, most definitely.
Chicago, I mean, but no, thank you guys. I would love to come back on another time. So
absolutely
updates on how I'm doing. So
yeah, of course.
And I'll let y'all know about any other scientists in my area because I know quite a few that would like to get on this. So
cool.
Thank you. I'm glad you enjoyed it and everything. And like I said, our goal is, as much as we want to promote ourselves, we want to promote particularly young people, but of any age. And this, like I said, people can be younger in spirit as well, but we want to promote those underrepresented groups, Black and brown people all around the world, whatever, that are doing positive things in STEM. We want to let you know that, hey, we're here, we're present, and we're successful. And if we're not where we want to be right now, we're showing you how we're getting there, where we've come from. So definitely send those our way. And I said thank you again. It's been awesome.
Yes. So thank you, everyone, for tuning in. Peace and blessings, everyone.
Deuces.